Well, I might be live by myself, but hey, that's okay. Share out to. Well, I was hoping Kimberly would show up and a few people would show up, but it's okay. It's my first live. Let's talk about the paranormal. What would you like to know? Um, I, I am an investigator. I will be in the 4 house. Um, I'm not going to just sneak onto the grounds. I am going to speak to the civil foreman before cops are being called because it's just wrong. There are certain places, yes, I understand sneaking into, but this is a place that a sad, sad tragedy happened. And I wonder about a lot of people's thoughts on Mr. Kohlberger. Do you think he could have slain 4 people in 19 minutes? I mean, it was so bad that blood was dripping on the ground. That is so sad. I mean, my heart goes out to those families. I my dad was um unalived. He was murdered, and my stepdad was too. And it's heartbreaking. It is more heartbreaking than anybody could ever understand unless you go through it. Um my kids got to meet him, my dad when they were little, so they don't remember him very well. And you know, it saddens me that my dad didn't, because you know, for $300 that's what his life was worth. But I do have special gifts. um I'm not the usual ghost hunter. I actually am not fake. I can see and hear them. um Sadly, a lot of people don't believe in mediums because of all the fake mediums. Most mediums or psychic people, when they go into somewhere that has entities, or as I call earthies, they're not going to be talking a lot. They're going to be really filling up the energy, seeing if it's low vibrational entities. And people don't realize about the clairs. You know, there are psychics that can just smell, hear. There's some that can just see them. It there's more to it, and they don't stop and think about those or look into those things. You know, I'm a new channel, and when I plan to go out, you betcha, unless I don't, if I don't know the history, I'm gonna research the history myself. Because a lot of places, and I'm not trying to say places are fake, but they beef up the history because it's more money. And the paranormal sells, sadly. Lots of people love it. They love true crime. And I want to show a different side of that. A side that, it isn't, when they hear a noise, they run the other way. Whereas I'm going to run towards that noise. And I'm going to be a woman by myself. I'm a one-man band right now. And as it is, I'm the only person on the stream, but that's okay. Hopefully my friends will catch it. I'm new to all of this, so sharing and getting the word out is it's hard. You guys are seeing me in my winter garb. Idaho is cold. I don't enjoy the cold. I do have lupus. It's an autoimmune disorder. It affects your kidneys. And so I'm freezing cold all the time. That's just the name of the game. Um, but enough about my medical stuff. It stops me from things, but I try to be active. Um, I'm saying I'm a lot today for some reason. You know, when you think of the paranormal, and excuse the appearance, normally you guys will see me in a different light. Um, what are your experiences? Because the veil is getting thinner. Things are changing. And it isn't about Halloween or All Hallows Eve. The veil's been thinning a lot more than a lot of people realize. And they're catching, loved ones out of the corner of their eye and they're like dismissing those things. And your loved ones aren't stuck. They are not stuck up in heaven. They can come down. They'll show you signs. You just have to look for them. You have to look for those signs and really pay attention to it. It could be electricity. Some of them love electricity. And another thing I want to bring up is traumatic deaths. A lot of times kids, it's a rarity that children don't cross immediately. But there are people that don't cross over because they've died in like a car accident or they've died very traumatically and that trauma isn't healed. And until someone opens space and they open the light and talk them through that trauma, then they become a healed spirit and will cross over. That's a lot of things that a lot of ghost hunters don't talk about. They go in and they ask these spirits all this stuff and they don't realize, like, when you're talking to a 100-year-old ghost, he doesn't, Mr. Brooks is no longer Mr. Brooks. And a lot of tricksters, people are like, oh, you use tricksters. They're low vibrational entities. They love to say they're kids. And a lot of addicts see them because they've lowered their vibration so low that they're seeing those entities. If you ask an addict, they'll talk about shadow people. They're actually seeing entities or earthies. And I'm going to tell you, intent is one of the biggest thing you have to go in with. Like in a Ouija board. I'm not a big fan of them, but people are like, oh, I'd never use one, blah, 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 blah. It's your intent that matters when you use those things. The intent of, what you're asking. You can't ask for the entities to do tricks. You just can't. You can ask them to do things like knocks, and a lot of times they will show you things that you're not even looking for. They can walk right by cameras. You'll never pick them up. And they target a lot of, sadly, autistic children get targeted. And it's something that needs to be heard. People, I watch a podcast, and I hope he doesn't mind. Jeff from Boot Productions in Toledo. He does home investigations with children, and I have the utmost respect because he doesn't put them on YouTube. because kids shouldn't be exploited in that way by any means. And hey, hey, Midwest Flesh, thank you for coming at least on. I'm not talking to myself. I appreciate you. I'm actually talking about um autistic children, and with my gift, sadly autistic kids do get targeted really badly. And I don't believe in exploiting those type of, like, if I were to go into a home that was haunted, children. I think kids, that's where I draw the line of showing an investigation if it's involving a child, just 'cause I just think kids should not be exploited. Um, I've been psychic my whole life. My brother is the same way. My brother and I My brother is a dreamer, and he gets a lot of his from dreams. I only remember dreams when somebody's gonna die. So, and I've freaked people out. Nurse for many, many years. I would chart for my CNAs, and I had a gentleman that was in his 50s, and I knew he had passed, and I hadn't been down the hall in over an hour. I agree with you on that. It's not exploiting them if you're just communicating with them, though. I do agree with you on that completely. I do. Um, I just see, a lot of when it comes to like a special needs kid, I don't know if I'd have the heart to put a video out. I mean, yes, keeping it respectful is so you've done an amazing job. I the graves of those women, I bawled through your whole video. That excuse me, my nose is running. That was the first video I ever watched of yours, and I immediately subbed to you because the heart you showed was in the one gal that didn't have a headstone. I was like, what can we do as a group? Because a group can get anything done if we want it done bad enough to get that poor woman a headstone, because she didn't. You guys are gonna walk with me. Well, you're just walking with me. My nose is running from being sick. Um, that whole video, oh, that's the reason why what you did was, oh, I want to do anything I can to help, so please get a hold of me on that. And I'll go back to talking about kids. Low vibrational entities love special needs kids, and they target them, sadly. A lot of ghost hunters don't realize is when you get scratched and burned, it's not a normal entity doing that. It's a low vibrational entity. It's somebody that gets a kick out of it. And skeptics go, well, why didn't I get anything? Because an entity that wants to get something out of you that's low vibrational is not going to mess with a skeptic. You're not going to change that person's mind. You're not going to get the food because entities see us as food. They will literally latch on if you don't know how to ground yourself. Protection. It's a whole thing. And I see all these investigations and I'm like, you know, dear Lord, what are you doing? Like, do not say you can use me for energy. That is so unsafe. If you're not cleansing yourself or knowing those things, and I really have, I really want kids to be protected because I just children are so even little kids, they will see stuff because they're impaired by the world. You know, we got influenced by horror movies and all of that stuff. So people get scared and they don't realize that, a lot of the people that are still there, a lot of times, like in asylums, they want to be crossed over, but they have that trauma that hasn't been closed up, so they can't cross. But you can't go into somewhere where you paid and crossed over their money. People get kind of mad, but you can go into a home and get that entity off that child because kids, when they're saying stuff, pay attention. They're not lying at all. I've never once ever told a kid they were full of BS because a lot of times when imaginary friends pop up, it's not an imaginary friend and it's not a child. Those low vibrational entities love to latch onto kids and pretend they're children. They will do they're like, "Hey, it's food. I'm getting the energy from this person." And this kid is telling their parents, this is happening and this friend is saying this and that, and they're dismissing them. And it's sad. And what saddens me more is with the spectrum autistic kids, there are some kids that are nonverbal at all. I'm a hand speaker, so I've got to learn to maybe keep my hands down. um, they're nonverbal and they're getting hosed by these entities that need to go. And they don't know how to say, "Hey, I'm getting terrorized." I mean, look, I try to tell parents, there are certain signs. There are signs of things. And I can walk into a home and as me being, and I don't tell a lot of people I'm psychic because they go, "Oh, how do you not know the lottery?" I talk to the dead, not, I don't know the lottery number. No, no, I understand. I was gonna ask you, since it's just you and me, if one of these days maybe you and I could do a live together, if you would give me the privilege of maybe even just talking to me and maybe an interview. I mean, just a thought. If you say no, it's not gonna hurt my feelings. I still think your work is amazing. I would really think, like, because your Uncle Donnie came in clear to me. Now, names I tried to tell you, names are, they quit connecting to their name because it's our third world. But he immediately said Don. Yeah, let me know. And I am down to, you can ask me anything, and I'm going to tell you there's going to be no BS from my mouth. How would I know you had an uncle named Don? He just said Don. That's all I got was Don. And I knew he was behind you. And he said, "I'm a guide." So when you're out investigating, he's actually watching over you for nothing. I'm in Idaho actually, but I'm willing to travel. I can travel anywhere. I am willing to travel and I mean, stay anywhere. I'll rent a cheap motel and hang out. Yeah, it's freezing cold in Idaho, but yeah, I'm in Idaho, so I'm right next to Washington actually too. That's Moscow is 22 minutes for me where the Idaho 4 happened. And then we have in Colfax, Washington, Ghost Adventures went, Nick Goth went. We have a hospital that is major crazy that I'll have to talk to you. I will talk to you soon. Thank you for coming on and at least being here for me. That means the world. I appreciate you. And get your editing done, and I will see you on your talk next Tuesday, or I'll talk to you before then. Yes. Well, I guess it's going to be amazing. A man with a heart. His videos are outstanding. They he needs more subscribers. I don't get how his talk is so small because he's so interesting. But I was hoping some of my friends would hop on, but I probably didn't share. I will be a little more or less scattered. Hopefully, more people will come on and want to talk. I'm gonna try later tonight. Also, I do have a mod. When she comes on, I will be making her my moderator and um saying a lot, probably because I'm nervous. We can talk about anything. I would like to hear your experiences. What do you have going on? I normally can tell that stuff's happening with people. I do not read into anybody's energy without consent. Unless, they say yes. I mean, that's just the way it is. Sadly, when I'm in a grocery store, if I'm next to somebody and it doesn't feel right, I have to leave. I have left a store before because the store was too small for me and the person, and that's just how it is. Next time I'll have better lighting and I'll use my tablet. But I'm willing to talk about anything and tell you my experiences. I've gone through a lot. I've had some crazy things happen. Um, I talked about my brother, who also is gifted. I had a horrible car accident, and I'm going to call her my sister in law. She was my very best friend. She married my brother. They're sadly not together anymore. But she called me and said my brother had a dream that I died in an accident. 6 months later, I was life flighted out. I was a mile from home. And he warned me. And, my brother does his own thing. He buys haunted objects. And he also was part of the Portland Paranormal Society, but he went on his own. He wanted to do his own thing, which I can understand. Um, it's hard when you say that you have gifts because people say stuff that's just cruddy to us. It it's not okay. This world needs kindness, and if you do anything, be kind to somebody. Just you never know what anybody's going through. I mean, I've sensed people that are wanting to unalive themselves, and it saddens me. Your act of kindness could save that person, and we're seeing rates skyrocket for that, and I wish that upon nobody. I've had multiple people in my family um that they've done that. I've had a family member that her boyfriend did that, and it was the hardest thing to go through to see that happen to that person, because that person is somebody that I love more than my life itself. If it came to her or I would make sure she lived. And I'm open. I will tell you anything if your loved one comes through. I will let you know what they have to say. Um, Also, true crime. I want to know what everybody thinks about the Idaho 4. 19 minutes in a crime of passion like that. That was somebody was, he had to be enraged. And They're having one heck of a time. They sent it down to Ada County, which I kind of think that they should have sent it to Washington State just to get a, you know, so that he can't scream, I didn't get a fair trial. They're going through jurors like there's nobody's business. Everybody's saying they would find him guilty. And, you know, I looked into his eyes and I'm not gonna lie, he's a cold, calculated person. Can I say he's completely guilty without all the evidence? No, I can't. Because I don't know all the evidence. Do I think he was capable of it? Yeah, very capable of it. But, you know, there's also junk science. And sadly, jurors are they don't explain those things. They bring all these experts and some of it's above these people's heads. They're not medical professionals. It, and I've seen people get on nothing. I mean, they got a conviction. For this, for the only one. Weird that this live just keeps on reconnecting. 19 minutes in and out. They called and said that there was an unconscious, um, drunk person outside. I understood is they found the boyfriend outside. And then, you know, I'm not saying that I'd I, I'd be doing something about it, but it's crazy because Idaho is and I get on the internet and I'm like, oh wow, 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 wow. And also, we're gonna see what we get up at the grounds. They are building a new house there, and I know a lot of people have been ran off, but I also will be talking to somebody about going there because I'm not getting arrested for trespassing. Yeah, somebody like me could probably sneak really easy through the back way, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to ask permission and I believe I'll get it. I don't have a bad feeling that they'll tell me no. I don't plan on going into any structure, but I do believe the ground got tainted. When you have that much trauma and when there's coming out onto the ground absorbs that and it retains that. And grids get messy. Sage, a lot of people want to use sage. Sage is not something that I would personally. It's the intent of sage that matters, but that's not something I'd probably do. I would ask my guides and send offerings to make that ground whole. And I wonder if we're going to get any answers from the four of them and maybe get some clarity to the story to see if what really happened that night. I plan on driving and I'm not big on apps, but I'm new. I don't have a camera. I have to use my phone. until I can build a little more. I'm the only one talking. Um, and be able to buy cameras and, certain things. I'm going to try to find the best app and we're going to go from there. It's going to be myself a flashlight and an app and we're going to see what we get. See if we get anything pertinent. I was really hoping that a friend. Oh, don't be sorry. It's just me flapping my gums about the Idaho 4 and going up and investigating. And thank you for coming on. I appreciate you coming on. I really do. Um I'm just I didn't invite anybody. I'm so new to this and I'm hoping people will find my channel and subscribe and realize that not everybody's a liar about their gifts, and I'm talking about kind of a little bit of true crime because I plan on going up to the Idaho 4 where it happened and investigating and seeing what I get. See if I get anything pertinent. And I'm starting out new. I don't have a camera. It's gonna be me, my phone, and an app. And I said I'm not big on apps, but hey, I've got to start somewhere, and if it's small and I work up, that's how it is. And you know, I'm for me, it's gonna be different because I really should have a second person because when I do tap into energy, I don't really talk. I kind of am very drawn to seeing what I'm feeling, what I'm hearing, and it takes a little bit for me. So it's not gonna. I'm investigating alone is gonna be really different. Yes, we talked in Messenger. Yeah, I've actually told a lot of people. I've read for a lot of people and said stuff that I would never know. Um, Never know. I had a friend named Sherry. Sadly, she passed away. And I finally told her after a year and a half of us running a group. I said, your mom left you something. And she goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, your mom keeps on talking to me and she left you a necklace. And she goes, oh my gosh, how would you even know that? Like, we never spoken about her mother being alive or not being alive, anything, because she was my age. And her mother had left her a necklace. I was on a makeup live, and the web camera panned to, yeah, sadly, it was so sad. It was just all of a sudden a post from her family saying that she'd passed. And I knew she had medical issues just like I did, but she didn't really talk about them. Like, she'd tell me some stuff, but not, and I knew she's trying not to worry me because for me, stress is really bad, but I knew she wasn't telling me the truth. And when she passed, I actually, I was saddened, but I wasn't shocked. Like, I had a feeling that it was coming just by what she was telling me and what I was getting. My guides were saying, hold on to this time with her. And it happened. And I did. I told her before she passed that her mother gave her a necklace. I was on a makeup live and the lady shut down her whole live. I felt awful. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I wish myself good health too, but I have an autoimmune disorder. It affects my kidneys, so my legs swell. I'm 95 pounds, and probably 6 of it's water weight half the time on my legs. I go through pain. My hip decided to eat itself 2 years ago. That was fun times because being a nurse, I waited forever, and my side got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, when it was like 5 times the size it should be, I went to the hospital because I'm not a great patient and ended up with an 8-day hospital stay. But, it is what it is. I just hope my kids don't get it because it can be hereditary. And, you know, that's all I can do is take each minute by minute. I take every minute. Like, I've had this cold for 2 months. 2 months of this crud. Everybody got rid of it in about a month. I still am hanging on to it. And I appreciate you coming on. I really do. A friend of mine, Midwest Flesh, he's also a paranormal investigator. He came on. I appreciate anybody taking the time to come on and listen. And I want to hear your stories. I want to know about what you've experienced because I know you've experienced a lot. I know that you've seen things. My guides tell me you've seen stuff that would scare the normal person. To me, I don't get scared because they will do stuff to really try and trip you out if you could see what they're up to. Like they'll try and like lick your face, and that is the fourth time